The African Development Bank has kicked off its 58th and 49th annual meetings of the Board of Governors. This year's focus is mobilizing private sector financing for climate and green growth in Africa. Business reporter Ntokozo Khumalo filed this report.
The African Development Bank is turning to the private sector for the continent's climate financing in a bid to harness natural capital and bridge the climate financing gap.
Even though we have contributed less, to greenhouse gases as a continent, we are disproportionately affected by climate change. And hence, the impetus is for us to always be thinking innovatively and creatively to address, the climate impact.
Kweno adds that many African countries are still working on overcoming several black swan events, including the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The bank is therefore looking to mobilize $10 billion in support from the private sector to invest in green infrastructure for the region.
The context is really limited fiscal space all around for our regional member countries. So therefore, given that we still have to address the impacts of climate change, it means then that we have to really look at alternatives to leverage limited fiscal space and also innovative ways to crowd in our private sector.
Aside from unpacking the continent's climate change financing needs, the bank will also release its Africa economic reports later this week and warns that many economies are fiscally stressed.
Africa is in a very, very dire situation with climate change. And there must be a sense of fierce urgency of now to tackle that particular issue. In my view, Africa is really choking. Africa is choking badly because of all of these challenges. It needs space to be able to breathe.
According to the AFDB, Africa needs up to $145.5 billion a year until 2030 to close its annual climate finance gap. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ntokozo Khumalo in Johannesburg.